Welcome, everyone, to the first official show of Womanhood. I am Lady T.
And I am Tanya Nikol.
Yeah, and collectively we're here to discuss all things womanhood. So welcome. We just want to thank everybody for being here with us today on our new venture. Of course, we're both new to this whole radio thing, but we're going to make it work. So we appreciate all the support that we have received over the weeks in anticipation of this show. And hopefully you rock with us as we embark on this new journey.
Absolutely. It is a new journey indeed. Like Lady T said, this is a new journey for both of us. And we're both excited because there's a passion and a purpose behind it all. But there is a little bit of nerves there as well. So once again, we definitely appreciate you guys listening in, tuning in, and supporting us through this process, because we know new beginnings can be a little challenging, nerve-wracking for anyone. So we're definitely not new to feeling those emotions right now.
Absolutely. And what a great segue into the topic of today. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about new beginnings. You could also look at it as something new, where we're just going to, discuss times in our lives as women, where we've had to kind of do it all over again, start something new that is kind of out of our norm, and pretty much what we faced going through that and how we came out on the other end, because, we're not special in that right in terms of, having to start something new and go through it and overcome. I believe everybody has the capability of doing so. So I think it's a great topic to start with. We also are going to have two guests on our show who will be coming in via Zoom. Miss Lucia D, who is the host of Honey Drop, and Jareen, who is one of the hosts on our Thursday talk show, Everyday Interesting People. Yes, EIP. Shout out to that crew as well. So let's get started. Let's first talk about womanhood and how we've arrived here, Tanya Nikol. Okay, so what it is and why it's important. So for me, having gone through my womanhood journey and still going through my womanhood journey, it's been quite a journey, lots of ebbs and flows, ups and downs, that I'm sure many listeners can relate to. And, as I go through it, I just realized there really is no book to prepare you for a journey like this. You're born into it and you just kind of figure it out as you go.
Absolutely.
I feel like a lot of it's been trial and error. But I feel like, as much as we all have our different journeys, there's a lot of similarities within those journeys as well. And what a better way than to collectively, as women, just speak on the various things that we encounter throughout our womanhood journey. Because a lot of the times I think you feel like you're by yourself going through things. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other people, plenty of other women out there experiencing the same thing. But I don't know if you're anything like me, Tanya Nikol, but I know for myself, I grew up kind of being told, like, you keep your business to yourself, and I think it was that mindset that made me go through a lot of hardships, so to speak, feeling pretty alone.
Right.
But, growing within that as well, learning that I'm not alone and that there are countless other women who, could be there or are there for me to lean on and share that journey and get advice from and continue to, evolve into who I am purposed to be. So That's why I feel like a show like this is super important. What about you?
Yeah. So when Lady T brought this up, I had a whole lot of thoughts that were going through my head as what exactly does womanhood mean? What does it mean to be a woman? And do we ever arrive, right, at full womanhood, or what's the journey? And I started thinking about a lot of things that kind of hold us back from growing into the woman that we need to be. Ideas that social media, for example, or our parents put on us, that say, okay, this is what it means to be a woman. If you don't know how to clean, if you don't know how to cook, you're less of a woman. And of course, we know those things are so untrue and dated ideas, though I'm sure our spouses, boyfriends, would benefit from having someone that does a good job cooking and cleaning and all that good stuff. But that is in itself does not define what womanhood is. So when she brought this up, like I said before, it just brought a whole lot of thoughts into my head. And one of the things I said to myself is like, I'm still learning and I'm still growing at 46. I'll put my age out there at 46. I'm still growing and learning what it means to be a woman. So I know for a fact that it is a process. And I feel like if more women come together and support each other and listen to each other's stories without judgment, but just in an open mindset to say, you know what, this is an area that I need to be better at, or this is an area that you need to better at. How can we help each other to grow and envision the woman that we want to be? So it's vitally important, because I think sometimes, you may agree with me or not, T. Sometimes we don't even have an idea.
No, and absolutely none whatsoever.
Of what being a woman really means. What does that really look like?
Yeah. I agree. What does it really look like? And I think, we all are unique individuals. So we put our own spin on what that looks like for us.
Absolutely.
And even in doing so as unique beings, it's still very deeply connected with other women's journeys. And I think that's why, having a platform like this is super important, because even though we are our unique selves, we still share so many similarities with others. So yeah, just like I said, there's no book, there's no guide. You kind of just
gotta figure it out.
And hope in the end you land on 2 feet.
Exactly. Which, as women do, we tend to always land on 2 feet no matter what.
Yes,
so
we
that's the power of
definitely do. Okay, so I think with that being said, of course, nobody really knows who we are. So maybe we can take this opportunity to introduce ourselves and a little bit of, what we're about. Do you want to start or should I?
Sure. Go ahead and start.
Oh, okay. So for myself, of course, Lady T, I am a mother of 5. I am a wife. I am a nurse in my regular day-to-day life, a nurse and educator, actually, and a nurse and leader. I would consider myself to be an unofficial dating coach. I mentor a lot of women in that arena. I would consider myself to be a confidant. I've been married, I've been divorced, I've dated, I've navigated those friends and family dynamics. I've had wins, I've had losses. So yeah, throughout my 43, I'll put my age out there. Why not? We're being transparent here. Through my 43 years of life, I can say I've definitely been through my fair share of experiences, and glad to, have a platform to speak on that, hopefully to inspire, encourage, and motivate others. So that's a little bit about me. What about you?
Nice. All right. So my name is Tanya Nikol. I was originally born and raised in Toronto, Canada, currently living in the Atlanta area right now in Georgia.
ATL.
I am a mother of 2 and proud mother of 2. As a matter of fact, my son, he's actually 16 and about to get his student pilot's license. So proud mommy right here. I'm also a positive psychology practitioner, and we'll get more into that later. I'm a board certified life coach. And part of my mission when I started out in mental health counseling was obviously to help people. I started a program for young girls. It was called Girls with Gusto. And it was to help young women feel better about themselves, self-image, build self-confidence, try to find purpose and meaning in life. When I went back to grad school, I got introduced to positive psychology. I was like, oh my God, this is a new science and I love it. It's so forward thinking. And I transitioned from mental health counseling into positive psychology and now into coaching, which I love doing. So part of my purpose and passion for even being here is to see how I could use my skills and talents to help women out there, figure out some stuff that they want to figure out, build a little bit more self-confidence, take a little bit more risk, healthy risk, in life. I am also a former athlete, even though I need to get back in the gym, right, T?
Me and you
Start
both.
working out again.
Me and you both.
But,
me and you both.
Overall, I look at life as a journey. I look at life as I've matured as opportunities to find out who I am, get better at learning who I am and doing things that serve me a little bit more than I have in the past. Because as women, once again, we tend to give. And our self sometimes gets depleted at times. So over the last couple of years, I've been learning and teaching my clients as well how to take care of self a little bit better. So hope I could help you wonderful ladies out there, love yourself just a little bit more than you did before.
I love that. And one thing I can say, have we even said how we know each other? I don't think we've even.
No, we haven't.
We haven't said. Okay, so.
Let the secret out.
Let the secret out. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so Tana, Nikol, and I are sisters. And our sisterhood story is quite an interesting one, which we will not talk about. We'll save that for Family Dynamic Day.
That's a good idea.
When we dive into that, but we are sisters. And the one thing I can say is, she's helped me immensely through my own journey. Definitely in the last 20 years, there's been a lot of growth and learning and sisterhood. And I definitely wouldn't be here without you for sure, keeping me sane in my what feels like insane moments.
Just rocky roads, rocky roads,
exactly. Like, you're amazing at what you do. And, I hope that you're able to touch our audience in the same way in which you've touched me. So, yeah, no.
Thank you, sis. No, let's not start the cry thing.
I know. Let's not do that. Let's not do that today.
But while she's putting me out there, I'm going to say something about her. Once you get to learn who this beautiful human being is, this is probably, and I'm from the bottom of my heart, she knows I don't say things just to be saying things, but she is one of the strongest, determined, smart individuals I've ever come across. It's going to take some time for you guys to understand the depth of that once you know her story, but she truly is 100% the strongest human being, smartest, full of tenacity. I mean, just an amazing human being. And I love you, sis. And I might not have shared this with you before, but you are strength. You represent strength. Your story represents strength and overcoming. It's a powerful story that I'm sure hopefully one day we get to share with our audience, because I know it will change lives.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that.
I said no crying.
I know. No, not a little something to my throat, But thank you for that. Okay. So let's just take we could take about 5 minutes before Lucia D joins us. Can't wait to see her. And let's talk about some people in the news who are currently going through their own new beginnings. So one person we can start off with, if we're talking about celebrities, Kim Kardashian, for instance.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have some mixed feelings about the Kim and Kanye fiasco that's happening, but I'm not even focusing on all that surrounds it. You sent me a really interesting article where she spoke about what made her decide to just move forward, step into a new chapter of her life. And I just want to quote something she said, because it was really powerful. And I've experienced this myself. She said, "For so long, I did what made other people happy. And I decided I'm going to make myself happy. And even if that created changes and caused my divorce, I think it's important to be honest with yourself about what really makes you happy. I've chosen myself. I think it's okay to choose yourself." I love that.
Yeah. It's funny when you said what makes you happy, it goes back just from my experience and, working with clients. You'll be surprised how many people, how many women have no clue about what makes them happy. So that's a bigger conversation in itself, because we work so hard to taking care of other people, finding ways to make other people happy, just like what Kim said. But when do you start to figure out, okay, what makes me feel happy? Not just on the surface, but I'm talking about on a deeper emotional, spiritual level. What do you need as an individual, as women, to feel happy, that sustained joy. I like to call it joy as opposed to happiness, because happiness is fleeting, right?
Yes,
you get something you like to eat, you're happy. Get a new car, you're happy. And then all of a sudden the car, month 3, you're just like driving it like it was an old car, right? So it's fleeting. Happiness is fleeting. So how do we as women, for one, start to discover what's joy for me? What brings me joy? And then you can move forward in doing more of whatever that is, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's interesting that you say that, because I was actually reflecting for myself, like, how did I come to the point where I realized what made me happy? And it was learning more about who I was as a person, because I realized I'd gotten to a point and I was like, who am I? You know, you spent so much time in your life, or at least for myself, listening to others, catering to others, so I can feel Kim on this 100%. And then you get to a point and you're like, okay, this is great, but I'm like, it's really not doing anything for me. What makes me happy? And I was able to answer those questions once I dug more deeper into myself and, you know, worked on myself a bit more. To uncover, you know, those hidden happiness gems. So for me, that kind of made the difference.
Absolutely. Because like I said, we can get so lost into that question. Even I just thought about when I left Canada, for example, and I got my first job over here in the States, and I was working and had my little money, and I went shopping, and I literally went into a store early 20s, unsure of what my style was. What did I like? You know, I didn't even know, because I was so used to being told what looked good, what to wear. And it starts at home with our parents.
Absolutely.
You know, so you go into a story like, okay, who am I? You know, amongst all these choices of wardrobe, who am I? So even that in itself, as simple as that is, it was a beginning of me starting to learn who I was, what made me happy. And I'm still learning.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think I got it like, well, let's give it like 70%, but I'm sure there's another 30 I have yet to uncover. Okay. Well, Lucia D, I believe, has joined us. We're going to get her connected on our call. We have Son of Man over here taking care of the board for us. That's what we're going to call him, our producer. So he's just getting her up on our Zoom.
Okay.
Oh.
Did you want to talk about Ava Duvernay really quick and a quote that I just found from her?
She's actually on right now. Do you want to hold that?
Awesome.
And then we can put that into our conversation.
Yeah, we could wait.
Lucia. Yeah.
Hi, Lucia. I want to be where you are.
Girls, I am so, I feel blissful, you know? And I gotta, honestly, Lady T, thank you for coming and spending a couple days with me and chin up. Let me give you some perspective.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Right? Yeah, girls.
We love it. We love it.
I want to say, firstly, I'm so excited for you guys. I'm so proud of you guys. You know, iLive is a complete labor of love in my life, and to see just quality females coming in, join the camp, I'm excited for y'all because it's very testosterone heavy.
Too many sons of men, huh?
Too many sons of men.
I'm telling you.
Well, thank you, Lucia. Thanks for joining us from the beautiful beaches. I love it. Yes, I had such an amazing 3 days with Lucia. I just went out there to hang with her and, you know, just have a moment of just extreme and utter peace. And I love everything that took place during those 3 days. You know, we definitely developed more of a sisterhood bond, and it was just a beautiful experience. So thank you for that.
I'll be there next time.
Yeah, you better.
I gotta late notice.
Yes. Well, you know what? We got to do an all-out girls trip and just get on out here and, you know, do it up together. But yeah, it was beautiful. And, you know, I was really thankful because as far as womanhood goes, you know, there's so much that I myself am experiencing, and to have a sister like Tanis come through or Lady T come through and kind of, you know, give me alternative perspectives than my own. It even made me more excited about what you guys are doing, because really and truly, sometimes we as females get so caught up in our emotions because we're emotional beings. And it takes, sometimes it just takes a nudge from somebody else to say, take a peek at this.
Yeah.
Take a peek at this for a second. And then, so I've been, since she's left me, I've been here and really just sitting back and thinking about the conversations that we had and how me as a woman, there's certain things that I need to understand and do better in. Right. Okay. So, yeah, I'm excited. There's so much we're going to talk about, Charles. So much.
I have a question. So you said there's so much that you want to understand or that you don't understand. Yeah. Could you elaborate on maybe something not too personal, but when you say there's so much that I don't understand, like what does that mean? What are you saying actually?
Okay, well, for me, what it is that I've been single for a ridiculously long time.
Okay.
Like about almost 7 years. And I'm now in a very wonderful, beautiful relationship. But me, myself, as an individual that spent all this time sort of putting a box around myself and protecting myself and, responding to certain things in particular ways, from the footing of a single woman and a protective single woman, right? I have to really think about how some of my reactions may not be conducive to a partnership. I have to understand, like, I don't need to be scared as I may be, right? Like, I don't need to be scared. And it's not like I have a partner that is one that is putting fear in my bones. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's really just shaking your fears and dive in. Shake your fears and dive in. Yeah.
Yeah. What I love about that is that you're able to identify something specific,
Yeah, for sure.
And like I was telling Tanis earlier, sometimes we don't even know what we want because we're unable to do the work, be introspective and having honest people around us too that will point out certain things. Yes. And not be yes people or be like, girl, that looks good. You're like, maybe you shouldn't, right? Just having honest people around so that you can grow.
Absolutely.
As long as if you lie to me, I can't grow.
Right. And you got to bang on the head because the beauty of it is, my little iLive family here, these are some of the closest humans to me in life right now, right? Like the past few years of things that I've gone through, there aren't people that are as close to me as these individuals here. And, I rolled back a couple weeks ago and Patrick O'Morris, he called me on my ish. He called me on my ish and he's like, listen, it's like, you're not single anymore. Stop feeling so afraid. Like you can't respond in the same way because you're not in the same predicament. So for me, as I was telling Lady T, I know myself to be a person that if I see a unstraight line, I'm running. I'm like, okay, Jesus.
Real quick.
Oh, you want to do that? I'm out. And I have to realize that can't be the response to everything. You have to really sit back and take into account exactly what you're working with. And I think that's some of the most important advice for me as a grown woman that I've received because they'll tell you I'm reclusive. You know what I'm saying? So it was, woman to woman. Womanhood wise, the 4 days, she's left me with some really important things to think about as a woman and ways to better myself and my functions is what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Love that.
Nice. Yeah.
Is there a time that you can recall right now where you had to, you just had to start all over again or just, step into a chapter of a new beginning? And what were some of the challenges or barriers that you faced in that?
Yeah. New beginnings is the theme of my life. I would say. I think on a really honest level, though, like at every juncture that I've been faced with a situation where I've had to regroup and restart, the two things I think that impacted me the most, one is fear, right? Yeah. I have a tremendous fear of hurting, and I have a tremendous fear of being hurt.
Okay.
So I function every day on a level of, boys, don't hit me with this football. No. I live on a level of, I'm just going to make sure I do whatever I got to do, to not cry, and to not hurt, you know? And sometimes that's self-sabotaging, you know, that's self-sabotaging. I think the second thing that I've you know, as new beginnings come, because I have a disabled son, and for me, new beginnings are scary because a new beginning for me means a new beginning for him. So for me, I would sometimes default to, I'm not trying to start nothing over because me and him, we're accustomed to this. Even if that present situation is one that leaves me in a position to be unhappy, unfulfilled, you know, and this iLive crew here have been kicking my tail for the past couple years. To kick me out of that, to say, you know, that's not quite what it is, and
time to get out of that comfort zone.
Yes. Change is not so bad, right? So, as you know, as a female, and I'm an old ass woman, I have a lot of learning to do. You know, and I have a lot of self-understanding to do, because my understanding thus far has been keeping myself in a closet for 7 years, hiding from men, women, and everything in between, just because that's the safest place for me to be. Right?
And that's kind of what Tanis and I were talking about earlier, you know, that we don't even know. We're still all learning and growing. And even hearing you speak right now, I feel like it's even more comforting, you know, that we're all kind of in the same shoe.
In the same shoe. Absolutely.
You know, we're all kind of in the same shoe.
I think we all are size 10s, by the way.
Size 9s and a size 11.
Exactly, right? Either size 9, size 11, 7, but regardless of what the shoe size is, we're all in it. And I think the beautiful part about it is we're here doing it together, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
You know, it's okay not to know what makes you happy. It's okay not to know, you know, how to stop feeling fear. It's okay. But through it all, we can help each other to grow. And I love that.
I love that too.
And you know what, too, is that something that needs to be considered is also the age factor. Because the way that I am able to sit back and kind of analyze this stuff, I couldn't have done that 10 years ago. I couldn't have done that 20 years ago. You know, so there's, you know, I empathize and I sympathize to the younger females, because especially in this day and age, I couldn't imagine growing up and coming through this time of life, you know, as a female. It would be this internet age. So, there's a lot of learning. And then the different generations have different sort of themes that are important and specific to them. You know, we're old. I'm working on these old bones and what I do when they can't move no more. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. And that's a great point. You know, I often sometimes find myself saying, I wish I knew this when I was 20. I wish I knew this when I was 25. You know,
only.
If only. But there's no way to. Fact is, I know that now. And that's why I feel it's even more important to have shows like this. So those younger listeners, you know, we can get in touch with them and be like, hey, this is what we've learned. I mean, I still feel very much like my 20-year-old self in a lot of ways. The body's saying something a little different, but, you know, the mind's the same. You know, I'm very energetic, playful. You know, I still feel like I haven't aged much, but definitely have become a heck of a lot more wiser as I've gone through that transition. So I totally hear you. And, you know, it's up to us to be the ones who teach the younger ones, and even teach people like ourselves. Our own age group, and even older women too. Like, there really is no age to this. If you really think about it, it's just that ebb and flow of life. I like what you said about fear, because I feel like if we asked a room of 100 women, and we should probably do this, I feel like if we asked a room of 100 women what stops them from starting something new, starting something unknown, I think fear would be the most common answer.
Absolutely.
That we would hear. And I know for myself, fear has definitely had its grips on me. But I can't explain the overwhelming feeling when you just look fear in the face and you say, not today. you know, and you step through it and you walk through it and you come out on the other side and you're like, what was I even afraid of?
Right.
Exactly.
It's funny. The research talks a little bit about fear that I was reading an article the other day, and it was saying how our minds play this crazy trick on us, that we fear the unknown, right? Moving into a new situation, new relationship. But when we actually get there, it's so much less stress than what we had imagined it by 70%.
Yes.
70%?
By 70%.
Wow.
So we make up the stress we actually put on ourselves, right? That holds us back. And then when we go into this situation like, oh my God, it wasn't even close to as bad as I had imagined it.
Exactly. I'm beating on the furnace for that one.
Beat the furnace. I love that. No, yeah. Fear is, you know, it's a construct of the mind, really.
Absolutely.
You know?
Completely.
And that's what we battle every day. Sorry, go ahead.
Human beings are going to do whatever they can to not inflict pain on themselves, you know, and sometimes you get to a point, like if you've had a particular life or something that has pounded you a little bit, you're going to get to a place in your life where you're like, okay, you know what? Guards up, shields up. This is a hostile environment.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, in some instances that may be beneficial, but in reality, when you talk about just basic human relations, the basic female function, closing yourself off like that is detrimental. You know, if I continued on with the path that I was on in that fear, that the grips of the fear that I was in, because that's completely what it was. One, I would still be completely lonely. I wouldn't have found a partner that is as wonderful as he is. But even within that relationship now, I have introduced fear into it, and I need to deal with that, right? Yeah. So there's so, you know, we can be 50, 60, 70 years old, and there's so much growth to be had as females because every phase of our lives were different. We grow the way we process and think, you know, our body, you know, I don't know how much we're going to expose here, but our bodies as we get older and things start to change hormonally and things like that impacts how you react to everything.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you'll have a reaction to something and then at the end of it, you're like, oh my God, like, what's wrong with me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's so much for us to process, right?
Yeah, there truly is.
Yeah.
I just want to take this moment. Thanks for that, Lucia. I really appreciate it. I just want to take this moment to shout out some of the people who are watching us via YouTube right now, locked in. We have Pat T, who's on.
Hey,
Pat. We have Valerie, who's online. Hey, Valerie. And Georgia. We have Stephanie, we have Jessica, and we have Patrick, who's on YouTube locked in. So thank you all for coming on and supporting the show today. Pat said something here. She's in the comments. She said, the battlefield of the mind is powerful. Absolutely. And most of the time, what we think never happens. You know, and that it's just so true. You know, we literally can be our own worst enemies in that regard.
Absolutely. We have that. We literally have thousands of thoughts that go through our head every single day. Every single day.
Yeah.
So could you imagine if you try to listen to
all those
thoughts at one time? You'll go mad, right?
Some people do, though. I mean, realistically, if you want to break that down, when it comes to mental health, people do. Yeah. I mean, even for myself, you know, I went through a situation where fear literally had me very tightly
crippled,
paralyzed is more like it. And it took me a long time to kind of, you know, see my way out of that. And, you know, on the other end of that, it affected my body. You know, I was sore every day. My concentration was suffering. I did not feel like myself. It literally like beat me down. And, you know, I had to rebuild myself from that. It's a very powerful thing, but it was all up here. It was all in the mind.
All up there. That's why we have to really be careful of the thoughts that we listen to.
Yes.
Right? Because so many of them come to us, some of them, you know, through media or our friends and family that aren't true. a lot of these thoughts that we have, most of them, they're just not true. They're made up. Our mind is a big imaginary, a playground where you can create and, create all kinds of crazy stuff. So I think,
you know what? It's go on, babe. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, say
I was going to say, what you're saying is actually banging me over the head right now. Because if you think about it, in the past decade, the social media influence has become such that if you're not paying attention and you get wrapped into that reel, you will come out with that thinking you're not pretty enough.
Yep.
Your size is off, you're fat, you're ugly, your skin is this and that. And you don't even stop and realize everybody has a filter on their face right now.
Yeah.
Right? So you're here killing yourself saying, oh my God, I'm not beautiful, I'm not worthy, I'm not fit, I'm not this and like that. Not realizing that neither are they.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Neither are they.
This whole social media thing has just kind of swept people up. And it's scary for females because there's so much pressure, especially now, to be a hot girl and look a certain way. And your validity is found in things that are
not real.
They're not real.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not real.
30-second clips.
Yeah.
This 30-second clip is going to tell me how I should feel about myself.
Yeah.
But the sad thing is, if I'm on, let's say, what do you call it, TikTok, and I'm flipping and I'm seeing all these beautiful women perfectly filtered, and I'm looking in the mirror saying to myself, well, goddamn.
I know.
I don't look like that. That's a punch in the face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's difficult. The other morning I was sitting with my fiance having breakfast, and sometimes I just have these thoughts that came into my mind, and I'm going to read exactly what I wrote. I didn't post it yet, but I plan on posting it. And it says, if you use social media as your barometer as to how your life compares, you'll never be good enough.
Exactly.
Ouch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we do it all the time. People do it all the time.
We do.
Unknowingly too. Like it's such a thing that seeps into our subconscious that we don't even realize what we're taking in and how it's affecting us.
Yeah. And that also goes to point, social media breaks are important. I don't think we should be shamed for saying, you know what? I'm going to take a month away or 2 months away just to kind of live my real life right now.
I thought about that the other day. And
connect back to who I am at my core. I think it is important. I think, I believe everybody should do that.
Lady T, I thought about that. I'm okay for a split second. I thought about that maybe last night or something. And I was like, could people actually do it? Could you?
It would hurt.
I was like, well, maybe we could try for one day because I don't know if they can last a week.
Mm-hmm. Well, ask yourself this question. How do you feel when you forget your phone home and you're halfway to work?
You act like I did.
Like I want to turn back.
Exactly.
Like I want to turn back home.
I'm turning into the parking lot at work. I'm like, my phone. And
yeah.
I'm like, should I go back? Do I have enough time before this class starts for me to go and like grab my phone? Like it's distressful. And then I'm here giving a lecture. My students are in front of me, and all I'm thinking about is
the phone.
The phone.
High stress.
My phone. Yeah. And then as soon as the class is done, I'm not even going to my office. I'm running back because I got to go back and get my phone. I'm naked. Yeah. I feel naked.
Yeah.
Right?
We will definitely have a show that speaks all about our phones and social media and kind of how to get a grip on all of that so we can live our best lives. I just want to take the time. Thank you, Lucia, so much for joining us. We're going to be moving on now, but I appreciate you taking the time on your beach to tune in.
Beautiful beach. Beautiful beach.
Beautiful beach. And to have this conversation. I appreciate and love you so much. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you for having me, ladies. Congratulations and blessings on your new show. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Oh, we just gotta love her. I just love her. Anyhow, thank you.
Great energy.
Yeah. Oh no, Lucia.
And I like her authenticity. Her openness to just be open. I love it.
Definitely a genuine being, Miss Lucia D. Okay.
Love it.
So we got our next guest on the line. Miss Jareen is going to be joining us via Zoom. I believe she's coming into the call right now. Hey, Dream.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
How are you? Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I'm happy for you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you can join us today.
This is amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Congratulations again on your show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have you been
You've
enjoying
already
it
brought
so
me
far?
to a few tears already.
Oh,
As I was listening, these conversations are so important.
They are. They're crucial. They really
Yeah.
are. Okay.
Yes,
So we can kind of just get in there with you. So do you want to explain who you are, Jareen? Let's have a little intro.
Okay, so my name is Jareen. I'm new to the iLive radio family. One of the co-hosts of the show EIP Lounge, Everyday Interesting People, which airs Thursday 5 and 9. I'm a mother of 3, single mother of 3. I'm in my 40s also, and experiencing everything that I've been hearing in the conversation.
welcome to the real world.
Welcome. Welcome to Womanhood.
everything you guys said, I was like, wow, it's so amazing just to know that there's other women who feel like this and who's going through these things. Listening to Alicia D earlier, and she's talking, about self-sabotage. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. Mm-hmm. And, Tenny Nikol talking about what makes you happy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. And all these different things. It's amazing.
Yeah, no.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's definitely amazing. And
there we go. I can see you now.
There we go.
Yes.
Like, where did she go? Okay, there you are.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm very, very happy to be and honored to be here with you guys today.
Yeah, so happy to have you here. So do you have a new beginning that you would like to speak to? And
so I have a few. I mean, I have the radio show.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is fairly new for me. Very exciting. Very nervous to start out with, but I look forward to every Thursday now. I'm so excited. It's amazing.
Love it. Love it.
I'm currently right now in the middle of a new beginning with regard to my career, which is very scary.
Okay.
Trying to find something new. Just unfortunately, due to budget cuts, I have been cut from my employer. So now I'm on this path of, do I want to work again? I work in healthcare. So do I want to work again in healthcare? Do I want to do another 9 to 5, or do I want to do something else? There's other passions that I have. Do I want to explore that now? Is this the time that I take to explore that? Maybe find something, maybe not full time, but part time, and explore everything else that I want to explore. But then that fear comes in where, oh my gosh, I need benefits. I need this. I need that. So that's my new beginning right now. I'm in that process right now of my career journey. And then, of course, some new beginning with a relationship, just fairly new. So,
okay.
All scary. I'm ready to run from all of them. I'm ready to just,
don't run.
I'm ready to run and just, they can't bother. Let me just, that's where I'm ready to do that. But it's having conversations with myself and trying to say, okay, at least try. And it's okay to fail. I think it's that fear of failure that you're going to fail. And sometimes we as women don't want to share our failures because we feel, we're going to be ridiculed or we're going to be laughed at or people are going to be disappointed. But I think it's important that we share our failures. Right. And I think failures in itself is important because it's helping us with our growth and it helps others with growth. So I have those battles every day with myself.
Okay. There's a couple of things that you mentioned because one of your new beginnings has nothing to do with you actively making it a new beginning or wanting it to change. It just kind of happened. And I thought about that last night. I was like, some of my new beginnings, it wasn't because I wanted to do something specific and I was afraid to do it. Right. It was that something came up. And it just like, oh, well, this is a new beginning for you.
Yes.
What are you going to do? So sometimes our new beginnings are unexpected or shifts that happen to us in our lives that we didn't plan for, didn't even see coming. And now you have to adjust to that new beginning, right? And then something else you said about, being afraid to fail. Sometimes the relationship with our words have weight. Yeah. And I like to tell people, it's okay to learn.
Right.
As
important.
I don't, I'm afraid to fail, or I don't want to fail. Yeah. Look at it as like, what? It's okay to learn.
It's okay to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All of our failures all of our, mistakes, there's always a lesson in it.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that quote. It's okay to learn.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to learn. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It kind of takes the weight off.
It takes the weight off. You're right.
Of the word
really
fail.
Does.
Yeah, because that word fail is it's
heavy.
It's heavy. It gives anxiety.
Yes.
It's a very heavy word. And especially, I don't know, I think we're all, grew up in Caribbean families.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of expectations that are set upon us.
Woo.
From an early age.
Yes.
Very early age.
1 year old. When you just learn to walk.
Right?
Don't fall.
It's like it's there.
Exactly.
It's there. And so when you find sometimes as you're getting older, maybe you didn't meet all those expectations, it's almost like, oh my gosh, am I going to do this again to them? You know what I mean?
But whose expectation is it? That's something I had to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
Whose expectation is it? I questioned myself about 5 years ago when I was, just working, doing a whole lot of things. And I was like, who am I doing this for?
Right.
Who am I doing this for? Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
it's very important. And I think it's also important as parents that we don't do that to our children and don't set those expectations for them and allow them to kind of, have their own growth and development, right? So, but in that within itself, when you see our parents and they're like, why aren't you doing this, that, and that with them? Or why aren't you telling them this, that, and the second? And I have to remind my mother, listen, it's a different time, different generation. And I choose for them to not be weighed down with all these thoughts and these burdens and these expectations, because I know what it's like, and I'm an only child. So I listen to your guys' conversations about sisters and everything, and I love it. And I love having strong women around me. Like, I get excited. I'm so excited. I'm listening to you guys talk. I'm like, this is amazing. And I think that support is so important. I think it's support with no judgment is so important.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah. That's key for sure. That's key.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the judgment part is really important because, we don't want to feel like we're being looked down upon.
Right.
For some of the choices that we make that we inevitably learn from, right? So, I think it's important to have a safe place that we can have these conversations and just learn. We're all learning. Life is learning for the whole time. I think until we close our eyes in the very end, we're constantly learning. We're constantly evolving. So I think that's super duper important.
Right.
That's great, Doreen. Your career story actually takes me back to mine. Because I wasn't always a nurse. I went back to become a nurse in my late 20s, going into my 30s. Okay. And that was definitely a huge new beginning. As a single mom at the time with
you were doing it. You were doing it and doing it well.
Right?
And all that fear and the, thinking about the unknowns and creating these narratives in my mind. I mean, I'm so glad I just said, nope. I was very intentional about why I was doing what I was doing. And I just went, I just walked in faith. And, I'm very happy in my life as a result of that. So that's my advice to you is just step in faith and be intentional about what you're looking for the outcome to be. And just know that it's going to be a little bit up and down, but you're going to get there, girl. Don't worry. You got support.
Yeah.
Yes. And I love these conversations. These conversations me, they're helping me self-reflect. They're helping me look at things differently. My takeaway of it's not failing, but I'm learning.
You're learning,
right?
Yeah,
and that's okay.
That's okay.
And that's
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Good.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that.
I'm definitely excited. I'm excited about this new beginning. Yeah,
we're excited.
And one thing I always say too, if anything, the pandemic taught me too is just to make sure I take advantage of every opportunity that I have.
Nice.
So no more waiting and deciding, should I do this or should I do that? Because I just don't know if, Dougie Ford can change things any time of the day. So I am deciding to take full advantage of any opportunities that are presented towards me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yay. Yay!
Yes.
Go with it.
She's already tackling her new beginnings very well, isn't she, Lady
Clap
T?
for that. No, you are. I love the energy that you're bringing.
Thank you.
And, just keep that same energy, that's the energy. Keep that same energy.
Thank
I'm
you.
telling you.
I can see it like coming right through the screen, right? You can see it. That's like a glow.
Yeah, it really is. Good for you, Jareen.
Thank you.
Honestly.
So much.
And with regards to your show, I absolutely love listening to
Thank
EIP.
you. I really appreciate it.
Did she hear us? I don't know if she can hear us.
Thank you. Yes, EIP Lounge. Thank you.
EIP,
There we go.
yeah,
I think I did. You love listening to EIP.
Yes, EIP. And, I love
Hello?
Can you hear us? Okay, technology nowadays. And I love, every time you speak and you're so logical and you just hit it right on the head. Like every time you say, I'm like, yes, Jareen, yes. So for those of you out there who do not listen to Everyday Interesting People, please tune into them. Definitely every Thursday here on iLive Radio from 9 to 10.
Thank
Amazing.
you so much for the support.
Job.
Thank
Amazing
you.
job.
I love that support. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for having me on the first show.
Thanks for joining.
You're welcome.
And
congrats.
Thank you. We're going to let you go because we can tell that you're having a little bit of Wi-Fi issues, which is all good. But thanks, Jareen, for calling in.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Okay, so we got, 7 minutes left. So you had mentioned before, sorry, Tony Nikol, you were mentioning something about Ava Duvernay.
Right. So I saw a quote about going back to, I guess, taking care of self as well as new beginnings for some people who are in situations that they don't want to be in. And she said, I'm going to do what feels good to me.
Okay, yes.
And I shared that, and I feel like it's a loaded statement, a loaded, sentence.
Okay. In what way?
In a way where I don't know how realistic it is.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. As far as you doing what feels good to you, because we live in a society where we have to be around other people. We have our spouses, we have our kids, we have our coworkers, right?
Yeah.
And if we were to live in that manner constantly as our goal, I feel like we'll lose a sense of compromise. How do we compromise if all we're focused on is self?
Agree.
Right?
Agree.
So I feel like there's some balance that has to take place, especially if you have children. Yes. If I focus on what makes me happy, Lord, I don't know what my kids will turn out to be like. Right? Or if I focused on myself, my fiance probably would be lacking.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there has to be some level of, in my opinion, balance in that statement. But I think if it's lopsided, then there's a big problem.
Yeah.
If you're not doing enough, to feel a little bit of joy, feel a little bit of happiness, or what feels good to you, then I think that's where we have to start figuring out, okay, hold on, I need to take some time out for me a little bit more so that I'm fulfilled.
Yeah, no, absolutely. For me, I think, for myself, I think when you're looking at, doing something that makes you feel happy, it has to be kind of a collective event. How is this also going to make my kids feel happy? How is this also going to make my partner feel happy? I'm not saying everything we do has to be surrounding that, but we definitely need to take that into serious consideration. And of course, absolutely. I think, having compassion when we do that, and having grace with ourselves as well.
Absolutely.
When we do that, knowing that, happiness, like you stated earlier, happiness is fleeting. You're not going to be happy 24 hours a day.
Exactly.
But, if you're looking for that, 95%,
right.
Try to find
you might be alone, right? You'll find yourself alone somewhere.
You know what? You may be, exactly.
And it may work for you, know?
Yeah. And for her, I believe she said she has chosen not to have children as a result
or get married. Correct.
Or get married as a result. So she's fine with being what some people would call selfish. I don't necessarily see it that way, but she's fine with just doing what makes her happy and not having that affect anybody who is, in her direct circle, I guess you can say. Yep. So, I can't really, hey, I get it. I can see it's both sides of that, that fence for sure.
You definitely want to do things that make you feel good.
Yeah,
but I think, if you have family and all that kind of stuff, sometimes there's some level of compromise that,
has to occur.
Is going to be needed.
Okay, let's take the last 2 minutes we have here. Let's talk about
2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Time just flew. Let's talk about our new beginning with womanhood and how we felt, as venturing into this and how we feel now that we're about to wrap up our first show.
Yeah. So for me, I'm actually entering a few little new beginnings, significant ones, and this is one of them. And when Lady T invited me, I was just like, okay, sure. But I really didn't know what to expect, right? But I've been in this space of when opportunities come, be open to it because they're coming for a reason. So even though I wasn't sure how it would work out or any of that stuff, I was just open to the experience. And I'm realizing now that in my practice, I'm trying to kind of steer not away from it, but find another platform where I could reach more people, that this could be that platform. Without me even thinking about it. So Lady T, thank you for, the opportunity for sure for me to help in any way that I can possibly help. But I'm enjoying the process and I'm going to be studying and making sure that I bring you guys accurate information and any way, I can help you guys to learn and grow, and I'll be learning and growing through the process as well. So, as much as I was a little nervous, I think I messaged you and said, what did I say to you? I said something like,
I don't even know. We said a whole bunch of stuff.
Right. But, it's pleasant moment. I'm enjoying the process. I am very happy to be here. And so as much as I was a little nervous in the beginning or unsure, it feels good. I like it.
Yay. I could say the same thing for me. I live through Usi mentorship. I love, to Usi mentor others. And I'm just really excited about having the opportunity to come on, iLife Radio as a platform to be able to do this. And yes, definitely a little nervous. But as the days led into this, feeling a lot more relaxed. We've got some great topics coming up, for all of our listeners. We have enough for the year and beyond and beyond every Sunday. You're definitely going to get your womanhood fix. And I feel extremely optimistic and just very open to what comes as a result. So Son of Man is over here telling me wrap it up. So
yes,
I think that's Son of Man. We love Son of Man. So thank you everybody for joining us today. We appreciate you. Hopefully you can take something beneficial away from this conversation. Thank you to our guest, Lucia D.